Well, issues about the amendments to the 1999 Constitution continues to grab the headlines and the front pages. We're joined now by Mr. Chris Maduka, who is a public affairs analyst. Thank you for coming on this morning.
Thank you, gentlemen.
We're looking through this. What jumps out at you saying, no, wait a minute, I think this or this about which particular clause?
Are you talking about the whole...
The amendment, the entire amendment itself.
The one about the local government, and then the immunity clause, and the independent?
They all jump out at you.
Well, let me put it like this. I listened to the gentleman that just left. You don't really need a mirror to see the ringworm on your finger. Everything in life is about sincerity of purpose. You know, we are looking at a situation where a constitution was handed over to us in a hurry, if you will. Some people were running away from Abacha, some people were working for him, and all of a sudden we get this thing. And of course, you know, in this part of the world, we don't have that sense of common good. Everything we're doing, we're trying to personalize it and tailor it to suit us, not minding that time goes. So the Constitution was just given to me based on parochial interest. And when we talk about amendment, it flabbergasts me that people try to fight it. People try to, what we're trying to do is to nudge it, make it better, so that it can carry the people along. Isn't
that the normal way when ideas contend? Mm-hmm. So even the question of common good is a relative terminology. So they think, look, this is the way it has to be. They've got to play politics. They've got to lobby people.
Who got to play politics?
Everyone. Life is politics, isn't it?
Well,
that's what political scientists will tell you.
There are certain things we don't play politics with. We played politics for quite too long. And we started this fourth dispensation in 1999, which means that a child born in 1999 is now, what, 15 years old? He's no longer a little boy, a little girl. And we need to get serious. And if the global community is going to take us seriously, as they said, we're going to be one of the biggest economies, one of the 3G countries, we have to get certain things right. Otherwise, we remain some kind of laughing stock.
What makes you think, or what clause in this amendment suggests to you that we're not serious?
You cannot turn around and say that somebody is a chief law enforcement officer and he's above the frail. He has immunity. That is very, very contradictory, and it doesn't make sense to me. The first thing first in a civil society is that everybody is equal under the law. What are you scared of? You want to serve the general public?
Yeah, but the immunity clause does not make them perpetually unequal or above other Nigerians. The immunity clause, as it refers to the law, is that while in office, so that does not mean that while out of office, they cannot face the law or the music.
Well, that in itself has its own problem. First of all, they give you immunity while in office so that you don't get distracted. You focus on doing the people's work. Let's look at the empirical evidence on the ground. Is that what the case is? Are they doing the people's work? Or are they using the immunity clause to even oppress and you know, turn the states into a private estate? So the intent and purpose is defeated. And that's why we're talking about this immunity clause. As a matter of fact, Nigerians need to be up in arms and make this an election issue. Who are the people that are against this? Why? Because you cannot continue blowing smoke all the time. If you say you're a Democrat, if you say you belong to the civil society, I'm talking about both sides of the aisle, APC, PDP, and all of them. I've never seen anybody vehemently come out and say, let them remove this immunity clause.
But the House of Representatives voted that, if I remember properly, that it be removed.
I applaud them.
But the Senate voted otherwise.
Exactly,
so what
the conference committee
now adopted, I think they adopted the Senate's position or something. So since they could not agree on it, it has to remain the way it is in the 1999 Constitution.
That's where I harken back to the people. Nigerians need to stand up at some point. You don't just continue criticizing Jonathan, this, that. This is the time for the citizens to stand up and ask questions. That's what happened in other climes. That's what happened in the US. That's what happened in the UK. Who are the people? Even some senators and some representatives, their wives will call them. Honey, how did you vote on that issue? I'm not happy about it. Who holds these people accountable? I want to know who are the people that, if you want to put it bluntly, kill this issue of immunity removal. Because that is what goes to the heart of the matter.
Okay, let me ask. If they were to remove the immunity clause,
okay,
what do you think will happen differently concerning governance at any level?
I mean, it's very simple. You are going into, let me say this. Maybe I'll digress a little bit. The Americans, the British, all these people we praise, they're not really better than us. And I'll tell you why. A lot of people think that Americans are so law-abiding. No, they're not so law-abiding. There's a guy, they have a bike club, and he had a T-shirt on. You know what the T-shirt said? Some people are alive today because it's illegal to kill them. In other words, he's only restrained by the long arm of the law, not by the anything. So now, in Nigeria, most of us are restrained by conscience. We are good people, by the way. We don't have such certainty of the law. So what I'm trying to say is, you give somebody position, you give him immunity, and you're asking me if you remove the immunity, how it's going to be better? If he's sure, as much as Nigerians love their freedom to dance Kelewi and everything, they want to go to jail. They don't want to go to jail if you're going in there knowing the consequences. But what normally happens is you let him go in there, immunity for him and his deputy, and then they do what they got to do. By the time they're out, they're so rich, they have so much money and clout to fight all kinds of legal battle.
Yeah, but you know.
But I thought this has actually changed with this new one, because it now says no immunity for governors or the president on criminal cases. And now they're talking about Section 308 in this amendment. I think what you were looking at before was a blanket immunity, but now there is a caveat. For criminal cases, you lack immunity.
Well, I don't know why immunity leads to impunity, period. Whether it's criminal or civil or whatever. And what we're talking about is not, the issue of criminal matter when the governor go and annihilate somebody or murder somebody or something. We're talking about compromises. Compromising where you don't supposed to as a leader. Putting the people first. And giving people back the power to call you to order. Some people have provision for referendum. In the middle of your leadership and administration, they say, oh, no. They go for referendum, they get certain level of signatures, and they call you back. So those reality checks is what we need. A situation where somebody will get into power, sit there, I have immunity, it doesn't matter what I do. That to me smacks on common sense. It don't make sense. And nobody can change this because it seems like it's a very, very strong entrenched distance. Until Nigerians start speaking up and start standing up. You just don't sit down and complain and blame Jonathan, blame this person, and blame that person.
I was actually coming there.
Do something.
Is that the problem? Because at the end of it, they still leave office. We haven't actually seen anyone do anything critical when some of these people leave office. So it's not a perpetual immunity, so to speak.
Well, like I said, there's something they call tired democracy that leads to some kind of despotic state. And the tired democracy is when the citizens drop the ball, when they fail in that vigilance through maybe their representatives. Of course, the representatives are all compromised, so to speak, some of them.
Not some of them.
So when some of them, it can't be everybody. So if the citizens cannot stand up and hold these people feet to fire, the change you are clamoring for will not come. So it goes back to people, it reverts back to the people to demand in meaningful way. You don't just demand based on frivolities. You demand for something that will be fundamental, that will bring change. I don't mean in this political, say we are different. No. We're talking about issues like this, so that the future generation will look back and judge us kindly, because with what we're doing, and it seems like the people that are enjoying this immunity don't realize that it's tomorrow. One time is 4 years. You know, and why would you keep something that will hurt your children? This immunity is to me, it don't make